Welcome back to my channel. I am Adorkable Rachel, and it's time once again for another episode of Rachel Reviews, so let's just hop into it. This movie was amazing! Wonder Woman is the DC Extended Universe film that has been getting so much weight put on it and lots of pressure because the first three films were really, they didn't really get very good reviews, and the fans were kind of split on all of them, except the second one. They're bad. They're not good, okay? If you happen to like any of them, then that's fine. Really, good on you. But seriously, I'm kind of right up there with most of the critics where I was really not a fan of either of them. But this one? Oh my god! Obviously, a lot of people have had really high hopes for this film because if this one's not good, then the extended universe is pretty much a bust. It's like, sorry, nope, 4 bad films? No, can't do it. Stop, just enough. No, we can't keep doing this, just stop. But thankfully, this seems to be the film that finally saved the DC Extended Universe films. And if you haven't already guessed, I loved this movie. The plot of Wonder Woman revolves around a young girl named Diana who grew up on an island that's completely isolated and hidden from the world. And the whole island is completely inhabited by these immortal warrior women who call themselves the Amazons. But one day a man named Steve Trevor happens to crash his plane near the island, and Diana hears about this great big war that's happening in the outside world. So she decides it's her duty to go back with him and stop the war herself. Now I first want to say that not only is this a really unique origin story for a superhero, but it's actually very organic. And everything about it, from her training to the items she possesses to the history of her people, all of it just kind of presented itself in a way that it didn't feel forced and it didn't feel exposition-y. It was great! The movie was directed by Patty Jenkins, who's mostly known for doing the film Monster, which by the way is one of my personal favorite films ever. I mean, Charlize Theron, her performance is perfection in that movie. But I was also kind of surprised because if you put these films next to each other, you really would not have guessed that they were directed by the same person. Besides them both kinda having themes of women empowerment. And I'll be honest, I don't want to go too much into the whole feminist talk and talk about how this is a great film for women because the film does represent more than that. But as a woman who has not seen a lot of well-represented female superheroes in film, some but not many, during the movie, during all the great moments and all of the fight sequences and comedic bits and just all those parts that just make your heart so happy, the whole time, both me and my friend who was sitting next to me, we were just like, yes, yes, yes! Oh my gosh, girl, you beat those bad guys to the ground. By the way, I'm pretty sure this was planned from the beginning of production, but I really couldn't help but notice that this war she was fighting in, which was supposed to be World War I, the undertones of it did feel very similar to that of World War II, which is the one that Wonder Woman did fight in originally in the comics. Whatever, minor details. You may remember that Wonder Woman did appear briefly at the end of Batman vs. Superman, and it was kind of out of nowhere if you didn't really see it coming, but at the same time, she really was one of the best parts of the film for me personally because her appearance was short and sweet, and her battling was effing incredible! Wonder Woman, aka Diana Prince, was once again played by Gal Gadot in this film. I hope I said her name right. And I'm just gonna say this. She was hot in this movie! She has gotten a lot of shade thrown at her in the past because she is a supermodel and a lot of people were thinking, oh, she's not gonna be able to represent Wonder Woman correctly. But actually, she like really buffed up for this role. And besides her looking just so pretty and that beautiful body, it was, you know what it was for me? It was that hair, man. Oh my god, that really long, beautiful brown hair of hers that just like, you know, was so thick and oh my god, it was sexy AF. And I don't know where her stunt double was, but seriously, Gal Gadot freaking killed it on screen. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when she decides on her own that she's going to leave the trenches and fight in battle, ignoring the people that say it's too dangerous for her to be involved. There was just something about her character that even though she had these special items that made her less defeatable, just her presentation and how she went into battle with this sense of duty to save people and without any fear whatsoever. It was just so awesome to watch and it felt so empowering, especially when you know that she's in a society where she's not expected to battle because she's a woman. That is just so freaking badass. There was obviously a lot of fight scenes in this movie, and interestingly enough, they all at one point or another do involve a good heavy dose of slow motion. And normally when something like that happens, we kind of tend to think it's overplayed and it gets tired and we're like, okay, yes, we get it. Slow motion, it's a thing, we get it. Okay, more real action please. But surprisingly in this movie, it really didn't feel that overplayed. In fact, I think they chose just the right moments to use it because whenever it does show up on screen, it's whenever Wonder Woman is just kicking some serious ass and you just want to scream. scream, yes! Yes, queen, yes! And Chris Pratt was in this. Oh, wait, no, my mistake. It's Chris Pine that's in this. Chris Pine is the other hottie Chris that I really like. Let's get 2 Chris's together and we'll make a Rachel Chris sandwich. Oh yeah. I like that in this movie, both Steve and Diana have very different ideas on how to defeat the war. And since they both have different ideologies and opinions, they actually end up learning a lot from each other on different levels. They have such great chemistry on screen, and I just love all the scenes that they share, especially the little quiet moments that they have where they talk about humorous stuff or learn from each other, or even when they're just dancing in the street. There really is just this beautiful character arc that they share, and you can really feel the bonds that they're unknowingly kind of creating with each other. And not just him, but a lot of male characters in this film also demonstrate that the movie is not trying to say that men are evil or stupid compared to women. Actually, men can be just as naive as Diana. Equality! And what I also really like about Diana, besides the fact that she's a complete badass, is that she is naive. Despite her upbringing, she's not a perfect person. I think there's some heroines in films these days who have kind of gotten a bad rap because they're somewhat portrayed as being flawless, but Diana clearly is flawed. She feels emotions and she has made mistakes, and despite being an immortal Amazon woman, there's something very human about her. And I love when she enters the human world and she's discovering society and people and fashion for the first time. It's that fish out of water story that we've all heard a bajillion times, but there is something very natural and sincere about it coming from her. And of course there are some comical moments when we explore this side of her, but it's not demeaning. And what I also love about her is she's not an idiot. She's not like those bimbos in some fish out of water stories where the woman just like has no clue about anything. What is a man? What is sex? No! Just because she's never seen a man and is naive to what's going on in the outside world, that doesn't mean that she doesn't know what a man is, and she does know where babies come from, and of course she's also very educated in other relevant stuff. Look, what I'm getting at is they do establish that she knows more than you would think. And I think my favorite line out of the whole film is when she and Chris Pine are having that conversation on the boat, and she basically reveals that she knows what sex is, and she says something along the lines of, "Men are unnecessary for the pleasures of the flesh." That probably wasn't the exact line that she said, but I was still like, I love it, because it's so true. One of the really strong points of this film is that this DCEU movie finally realized that you can have an epic superhero and it can have humor. And it can be fun! The timing and the dialogue and the conversations between the characters could often be very quippy. And it could also be a bit of a breath of fresh air after going through a big battle scene. And not in a, oh, you silly woman and your silly mind and your silly ways and oh, you just so silly kind of way. No, like legit smart warrior girl who's kind of thrown into a new environment kind of humor. I can dig it. So with all of that said, I personally can't think of a lot that I disliked about this movie. It was epic, it was funny, the pacing was really good, and there weren't really too many moments where it felt like the scene dragged on for too long. It was shot really well, and the actors did an incredible job, and the characters were also really likable. Now actually, you could make an argument that this movie does kind of fall into the Marvel movie problem, where the villains aren't as interesting as they could have been. There is a little bit of a twist at the end with the villains, and I'm not gonna spoil it here obviously, but leading up to it, they just don't seem to really offer that much. Oh, and another complaint, there actually are a lot of scenes where the CGI is pretty heavy. Yeah, especially during that final battle, it was really distracting. But besides the boring bad guys and the CGI that was overblown, and also maybe some fight scenes that felt a little clunky, I felt like everything else that was good and amazing just completely made up for all of that. There are of course other things that I could nitpick about, but after everything that this movie throws at you, at the end of the day, the payoff is really satisfying. And I really don't know if maybe we're just overly excited about this film since it was so much better compared to the other 3 films, but I really cannot tell you how happy this movie made me. You know what? There is just no denying that this is a really, really inspirational film about one of feminism's greatest heroes, and finally, the DCEU movies have done a hero justice. And who knows, maybe that means we're finally gonna get some DC Extended Universe films that are actually good! We'll see. So those are my thoughts on the brand new Wonder Woman film from the DC Extended Universe franchise. So now I want to know, have you guys seen the film? And if so, what did you think? Are you a Wonder Woman fan, and did this film actually do the hero justice? Did you grow up with the hero? Did you not? Did you look up to her when you were a kid? And if not, are you finally a Wonder Woman fan like me? Well, go ahead and leave your comments below. Be sure to like and share. And if you're new and like what you saw here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to hit the little bell button down there to get notified when new stuff comes